There he is. And we are just getting started. Suzanne, it looks like Anthony's popping on. This is such perfect timing. Very excited over here. How you doing today?
I'm great. Excited that Anthony is making it, and I can just be the fabulous start and let him take it over.
I know. We're going to call this show The Tale of Two Glens. You'll find out why.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Lives. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. And there he is, the man of mystery himself, Anthony Melchiori, getting himself settled. How's your flight, brother?
Oh, it's great, man. I apologize. It was delayed, so I'm actually in the car getting settled. But I didn't want to miss this. I didn't want to miss this for anything. I always want to be with you. I haven't seen you.
I know this is really difficult, Anthony. We have been separated for far too long, but we're going to get to see each other on Wednesday because we're doing a live show from New Hampshire with the good people over at Colon Hospitality up there in the New England area. That'll be a lot of fun, right?
And that's where I'm headed. I have something tomorrow with them, and then Thursday hopefully we'll be together again in New York. Correct?
Yes. And by the way, I have gotten your access taken care of to the event that we will be at on Thursday. So,
thank you. I always like when you cover my access.
Hey, listen, man, it's all about that. But listen, Anthony, speaking about access, before we bring on our guest today, I just wanted to say how exciting it is. After 20 months, the U.S. is reopening its land borders to Canada and to 33 other countries for folks that have been vaccinated. Really super exciting stuff. How do you feel about us really now getting back to that international travel component?
It's so important. It's so important for businesses, hotels, just our soul in general. And I think what we're learning to understand is as long as the hospitals aren't being overwhelmed and our doctors and nurses and caretakers can handle the cases that we have, we'll get back to normal. So we're taking vaccines, we're taking boosters, we're getting back to normal. But this, we thought it would all be gone. It's not going to be gone for years. It'll be with us for a very long time, but we'll live with it like we live with the flu and everything else.
Yeah. I agree, man. I think we're totally at that point right now. When I was in Las Vegas last week, I think that was the general feeling of the crowd. The concerts I went to, you needed to have vaccination or negative test to get into. It created a sense of calm and comfort amongst everybody, right?
Yeah,
so that was great.
Listen, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, take it. I don't care.
No, I was going to say that, I have a friend who is vaccinated and he says he refuses to go to Broadway because you have to wear a mask. Well, the union, as I understand it, the union requested that all members of the audience be vaccinated. So they're following what I believe the audience or what the actors wanted. So it's great because it's a free country. He doesn't have to go.
That's right.
And put a mask on. So he won't go to the theater, which is his right. And these are the decisions we have to make as Americans. We don't judge you for it. You shouldn't judge me if I got vaccinated, if I got the booster. Like, we should just let people. He got vaccinated but doesn't want to wear a mask to theater. That's his right, and that's what we just have to. Now we just have to get back to living. It shouldn't be, a group of vaccinated, not vaccinated. And I'll step on the third rail and say that I listen to Joe Rogan religiously, and I don't agree with everything that Joe Rogan says, but the things that they're saying about him is untrue. Listen to 3.5 hours of his conversations, and there's sometimes where there's times where I fast forward through it because I'm like, I don't want to listen to this crap because I don't, I'm not on the same thing. But as far as his stance, everybody's just judging everybody with sound bites, and that we need to get past it and get back to being American and get back to this wonderful country and welcome all of our European travelers. Sorry,
let me tell you, Anthony, I've been welcoming myself all over the country. Right, I've been to Phoenix recently. I've been to Las Vegas several times recently. I'm in Atlanta today because I'm going to be right after show today. I've got to go and do a panel, a discussion with the president of Red Roof in front of a big audience here. We're doing a regional event with them this week and next week. Then you've got the Colon event. I've got the event on Thursday. Man, we are back at it. We are having
we're back at it. We're back.
What's that?
And I'm going to Vegas. The week after for something with Virgin Hotels. I'm looking forward to. And the thing when you get off the stage with the president of Red Roof, you have to
George.
promise me you'll remember to do this. You'll promise you remember.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, all right.
Just when you're done, just look at him and go, "Are you happy?"
Yep.
He'll understand what that means.
All right. He actually is pretty happy, pretty calm, pretty
No,
relaxed.
because the first time I ever did a real big keynote was with Red Roof,
Right.
like 10 years ago. And apparently he was a lawyer that did the contract. And on
Right.
stage, he introduced himself to me, and I just looked at him, and he reminded me just recently. And I looked at him, and all I cared about, are you happy?
Right.
Because I don't want to take his money if he's not happy.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, hopefully we'll have a lot of happy people out there. I'm all excited for that session. But you know what else that I am excited for? Talk to our great guest today, Mr. Glenn Malone of Wellengood Partners out of Memphis. Glenn, great to see you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Glenn. Good to be here. And actually, we're out of Nashville.
Oh, Nashville. I'm sorry. I thought it was Memphis. My apologies. But you own the Westin in Memphis, right?
That's correct.
All right. That's
correct.
where I got confused. So my first question then to you right out of the gate will still be valid. I was fortunate enough, Glenn, to have some Gus's Fried Chicken here in downtown Atlanta. How much do you love Gus's Fried Chicken when you're in Memphis?
I love it. I've always loved fried chicken, and Gus's is some of the best.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so Anthony's trying to take care of getting in the car and getting on his way, so we'll talk for a little bit. I'm curious, Glenn, about your point of view, how things are going. One of the stories that we've been repeatedly telling is it seems like it's stories of the haves and have-nots. I'm at this regional event right now for Red Roof. They're having an incredible year. They had a pretty good last year, but with hotels like yours in Memphis, it must have been a lot more challenging overall with the state of your portfolio. Are you seeing that haves and have-nots kind of situation, depending on where you're located?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the Westin Memphis, we are kind of square in the bullseye of, in terms of hotels that have been impacted by the pandemic. Mm-hmm. We're upper upscale hotel in an urban market.
Right.
And that type of hotel in that type of market, those have been hit the hardest. But with that said, we continue to make improvements month after month this year. We took a small step back in August, I think, with the Delta variant, and with kids back in school as well. But September bounced right back, and September grew again. So we're slowly coming back.
Yeah, I think with people are a little surprised that businesses also come back. Again, it's not coming back as quickly as everybody thought, or big groups aren't coming back, but it is trying to come back little by little. And I think also the flexibility of schedules are allowing people to take a little bit more vacation time than they normally would. So, I think we're all a little presently surprised because of the Delta variant. We thought everything was going on lockdown again. So it's good to hear that.
Yeah. Thanks, Anthony. It's like most hotels, we're seeing mostly leisure transient coming back the strongest. You mentioned group meetings. We're seeing small group meetings come back, but the larger meetings that we enjoyed in the past are not yet back, generally.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense to me. Memphis is such a great city for people to get together. Nashville too, but it's a little bit different. But you're talking about that leisure side. So one of the coolest properties in the country is under your stewardship, the guest house at Graceland. That's in the heart of Elvis Presley's Graceland. Of course, right? So I was fortunate enough to do a show a number of years ago with the designers of that property. So I'm pretty familiar with it. That hotel at 450 rooms, you must be doing really well to be in such an iconic location with a more leisure travel type of angle.
Well, it's a unique hotel and a unique proposition there in terms of the demand generator. Second most visited residence in the United States, Graceland. Wow. Elvis's home, second only to the White House.
Yep.
So a lot of leisure guests come there. It has come back strong, and it's Graceland is a part of Memphis. I mean, it's just home to Elvis and a part of Memphis. So definitely, the leisure traveler coming back's been great. A lot of meeting space over there, though, at Graceland, at the guest house at Graceland. As I mentioned with the Westin Memphis, still waiting for that to come back. But we're seeing, we're seeing that small group come back. And it's just, I think, a matter of time until the larger groups start to come back. Last week, or actually 3 weeks ago, time's flying, I was at the lodging conference in Phoenix, and it was a great turnout. So I think the larger meetings are beginning to come back. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, man, that was a very special event. I did not expect there to be so many people at the lodging conference, nor did I expect for the positive energy that was there to be so heightened compared to other events we'd seen just a couple of months prior to that. It was definitely, I think, a seminal psychological shift for our industry for getting back to it and really setting the tone and tempo for what we're experiencing this fall. Did you get that same kind of vibe too?
Yeah, I did, Glenn. And I think it goes back to what Anthony said a moment ago. I think at that conference, they did a great job of being respectful of where every individual was. Some had masks on, some did not. People respect each other's distance. All of those things are important. And I think people are realizing that, as Anthony described earlier. We can all live together. It's just a little different right now.
Yep, Anthony.
I think that's exactly right, and I think everybody's feeling the same way. And I think we're all exhausted, and we just want to get back to normal. So I think all the differences that people are having, I think we're exhausted, and we're just like, you know what? I think we're just gonna let people live. I think that's what's going to happen. Is we're going to realize we're not going to be able to change people's opinions, and we're just exhausted. I think everybody just wants to raise their family.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Anthony, your sound popped in and out there for a second, so I'm sure you got that fixed at this point. But Glenn, what is it? Let's talk a little bit about your company itself. What's your operating model? Are you a traditional management company, and where are you seeing opportunity these days?
Yeah, we're not a traditional management company. We have largely, in the almost 20-year existence of Wellengood, originally started out as Senate Hospitality Group. We have been predominantly a development company, providing development services to third parties for a fee. Once the hotel opens, we move on. But we've shifted, and we're looking for more opportunities like the Westin Memphis, where we took capital risk, have an ownership position in the hotel, developed it, capitalized it, developed it, and have operated it since it opened. Now we're looking to do more of that in our future.
Right. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense to me. But you focus a lot on then the asset management type of it, right? As a developer and stuff like that. What are some of the issues that you're thinking about right now that you need to be really cognizant of if you want to maximize opportunities with this assets in a market that's been in flux and possibly heading into unexplored new directions when it comes to customer behavior?
Yeah, well, definitely what we just got through talking about a moment ago, understanding which market segments are available to us right now, which are not, and catering to those market segments. The leisure transient traveler is out there, and so we are catering to them in every way we possibly can and enjoying good business from the leisure market. Small group meetings, as we've discussed here, are coming back, and that takes a lot of work because we're having to make sure we're providing for distancing, providing for all of the protections that people want, while at the same time respecting the group and what their needs and desires are, because every group has different needs and desires as it relates to the health side of the equation that we're all focused on now, in addition to what we've always known about groups and needing to cater to their specific needs. Corporate transient, we're still waiting for that to come back. We're seeing a small amount of that coming back. Right. But I think with the shift back and forth with companies still trying to decide when they're going to return to the workplace in many cases, we won't see that corporate transient travel bounce back significantly until we see people back in their office.
Right. That's an interesting point. Anthony, go ahead.
In New York City, the occupancy rate for corporate offices was at 10%. in July, and then it went up to 30, and I think now it's about 40%. So we're starting to see it a little bit in New York coming back. And again, if the streets of New York are any indication, during the week you're starting to see briefcases again. So, slowly but surely, I think by this time next summer we'll be in much better shape from a corporate standpoint.
I think that's right. But, Glenn, to your point too, we're looking at opportunities to develop hotels in markets that are square in the demand generators that are there and available today. So we're working on a project to capitalize it in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Nice.
Pigeon Forge is an amazing market, generally speaking, but we really began to realize that last year as we looked at it and saw fourth quarter of 2020. So we're still dead in the pandemic at that point,
Right.
Right in the bullseye of the pandemic. The fourth quarter of 2020, the 15 hotels that we studied performed stronger than they did fourth quarter of 2019,
Right.
which speaks to there was a market easily accessible to the leisure traveler. That's where they went. They didn't have to get on a plane, so on and so forth. So we're working to develop a hotel there. We're also working on one in Panama City Beach,
Wow.
similar to Pigeon Forge in that sense.
Yeah.
So that gets our focus right now.
Pigeon Forge is great. Dollywood is over in Pigeon Forge for those people who don't know that. And I think that really helps create a lot of drivers like the Orlando theme park market would, for example.
I tell you, the first time I was in Pigeon Forge, I was blown away. And I was doing a show there, and I was lucky enough to go to Smoky's Moonshine. And I'm sure everybody knows Smoky's. And the first time I had moonshine was 9 o'clock in the morning. And I had a couple shots of moonshine, and I was drunk until about 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
and I did the show. It's the first and only show I did half drunk. maybe more than half drunk. But what's so funny is I see Smoky's Moonshine now in my local liquor store. They're very successful, and I'd never been to Pigeon Forge, and I didn't realize. And I actually, when she Dolly Parton opened up her new hotel, I was supposed to do a show with her at her new hotel, and unfortunately she got sick. But it was like that moment was like somebody just called me to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I remember my producer calling me and go, "Hey, we got to think about how you're going to talk to Dolly Parton." I go, "Dude, you show up, you put the camera in with my face and Dolly's face, and you let her talk. I don't think I need to prepare to talk to Dolly Parton." It's like it was one of the most fortunate but unfortunate things because I didn't get to talk to her. But I love that part of the country. I really do.
Yeah, Anthony, she's got a great resort there, the Dollywood Dreammore Resort. And you probably know they recently announced a $500 million expansion to the resort and the theme park. Yep. So it's amazing what goes on there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's going to do you folks a lot of good. We got a question here about, Memphis and whether the demand can warrant the rate you're charging this very evening at the Graceland Hotel. But I'm sure it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't be charging that. But I'm more concerned. I want to go a little bit back to the area where the part of the conversation where we were talking about the lack of people coming back to work and how you're waiting for that. One of the other things that you focus on is you do bar and restaurant asset management and stuff, but you also own a downtown Starbucks, right? I haven't spoken to anybody about that kind of thing before. What's the business like at the Starbucks? Because to me, that's the ultimate arbiter of the number of feet that are coming through a particular neighborhood on any day.
Yeah, we've seen Starbucks bounce back, particularly since the end. Well, I don't know if it's ended, but since the Delta variant started to cool, we've seen Starbucks really begin to bounce back strongly. It was doing well before August, but September and October have been particularly strong. And then you mentioned we work with several bars on Broadway here in Nashville. And so providing accounting services and asset management services for those bars. So Whiskey Bent, Bootleggers, and these guys, it's amazing what's happening here in Nashville. Those operations are well ahead this year of where they were same time 2019 pre-pandemic.
Wow.
Again, speaking to another market, downtown Nashville, that has a huge appeal to leisure travelers. And so it's really benefiting from that, and we're enjoying that at those operations.
Do you have any properties in the Nashville area?
Not any hotel properties, no. We only operate those bars downtown. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're the only person that doesn't own a hotel in Nashville?
Yeah, that's for sure. And trust me, I wish we did have something here, but not at this point.
Do you operate my favorite bar, Tootsie's?
No, I wish I did, Anthony. What a great bar with great bones. History behind it. It's just, that would be a pleasure. Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
It's my favorite place to have a beer.
Yeah. It's great.
So let me ask you about that Nashville, because it seemed over the last 7 years or so, every hotel opened up there. I've never seen a specific city with so much growth that it was the size that it started at. Would you even want to build a brand new hotel there now, or would you want to try to acquire a property that already exists? Because anecdotally, it just doesn't feel like how many more can you build in that area to be successful.
Yeah, I think Glenn, right now, the answer in the short term is no, because we're still coming back from the pandemic. But I think in the longer term, if you went out 12, 24 months, absolutely. I think the development market is here. There are so many different demand generators in Nashville outside of the leisure side that we just spoke about.
Right.
From a business perspective, you're in a state capital, a huge legal presence here in Nashville, a large insurance presence here in Nashville. There's just so many different dynamic aspects of this market that drive demand here, both from a leisure and a corporate standpoint. It had become an enormously popular group destination, right? Because of all these things you can do here.
I love Nashville.
And don't forget it's the. I'm sorry, Glenn. Don't forget it's the capital of the bridal party.
Yes.
In the country, it seems like every bridal party goes to Nashville. Sorry, Glenn.
Anthony, I recently heard that Nashville had overtaken Vegas as the #1 bachelorette destination in the U.S.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
Yeah.
Because of everything there is to. Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead.
It's a very walking city. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'll let you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very walkable. You can get to so many different aspects of the city by foot, and it's a growing city. I think that adds to its excitement. But just so many things to do here from, for bachelorettes, I was about to say pro sports are here. I don't know if that's necessarily big with bachelorettes, but they are certainly up and down Broadway. I mean, you'll see the parties of bachelorettes. They've all got on their matching shirts, and they're all working up and down Broadway, going from bar to bar. So lots to do here.
Yeah, I'm hoping one day to be able to go to an event in Nashville that's not at that megaplex hotel by the airport. I'd love to be downtown and not in the same building for 4 or 5 days at a time. So
yeah. Well, there are great hotels here that are not mega hotels. Like the Bobby Hotel, great independent hotel downtown. There are so many hotels like that are also appealing to these bachelorettes. The Graduate Hotel right down the street from my office here is another huge bachelorette destination.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite hotels. I stayed there when they first opened, and we did a little thing there in some videos. And I was there pre rooftop, before the rooftop opened. But what I loved about it is you walk through, you feel this vibe, and then all of a sudden you go to a honky tonk in the back of the lobby that you have no expectation of at all. You walk in, you open the door, and you're in a completely, you're just transformed into something completely different. And just one of my favorite hotels.
Yeah, Anthony, this summer, some of my associates and I, we we went from rooftop bar to rooftop bar around Nashville, 2 different Thursday evenings, just to experience some of the rooftop bars that have been developed here. And I'll say the Graduate has one of the best. And what was crazy was, so there were 4 of us, one of us being a female, the other 3 were male. We're up there on the rooftop of the Graduate. I'm not kidding. I'm looking at the other 2 guys that I'm with, and I'm looking around, and I said, there's got to be 150 people up here, and I think total maybe a half a dozen men. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Did you?
I mean,
Well, is that when you said, "Okay, I gotta leave"? give the ladies their space.
That's right. My wife was probably ready for me to come home at that point.
That's hysterical. Now, we joke around a lot that that when you build a hotel in New York City, it's required by law to build a rooftop bar. But the fact is, Nashville seems to be the home of the rooftop bar resurgence, which I think spread like wildfire across the country. What, in your opinion, going on these tours of rooftop bars makes the quintessentially awesome rooftop bar experience? And if you have any examples to share, that would be great. Feel free.
It's the only food. It's the only food and beverage outlet in the hotel that makes a lot of money. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'll let you answer that.
Yeah, I think it's good views, and there are lots of great views in downtown Nashville from these rooftop bars. So good views are really important on a rooftop. I think secondly, whenever you can incorporate water, even if it's a small pool, it doesn't have to be a large pool. Even if it's a small pool, people love to congregate around water, especially if you've got some movement in the water. I felt like the ones that we went to that had water, and the Graduate we just spoke of does not have a large amount of pool area up there, but it has a small water feature, and people just gather around that. So I think different things like that. Also, I think, Glenn, another important element is both an indoor and an outdoor element of that rooftop bar, because weather's not always great.
Right.
It could be middle of the summer and you want to get in where it's cool. Right. Might be cool that evening. You want to get in where it's warm. So that's an important element, I think, that makes for success. Yeah,
that makes a whole lot of sense to me. Very well thought out. I like one of the first rooftop bars I went to, and it's more like a special area for just events that they have over at the Peabody in Memphis. They did a nice job having the duck house up there, and then having an area where you could do receptions and then go inside for your main event. So that's kind of like the proto rooftop bar before they started really getting focused on bringing in daily drinkers and stuff like that, right?
You're absolutely right. The Peabody has always done a rooftop destination on Thursday evenings, basically from spring through fall. And they've always done that with music being the feature to draw people. I think that is another element that can help a rooftop bar. But in the case of the Peabody, that is their focus, is music.
Yeah.
And what a great town for music. I mean, it's Memphis, home of the blues, birthplace of rock and roll.
Yeah, it really is. Memphis is great, man. I love and that's his thing. Nashville's got that, Broadway. Memphis has got Beale. Austin, what is that, 6th Street or something like that? One of those low digit streets. But I just love that as a music connoisseur, being able to go from venue to venue to venue and hear different styles and qualities and all sorts of different things. And to me, that makes the perfect type of experience to create an atmosphere where a lot of hotels could thrive by being a part of that. So I absolutely love live music and how that relates to it. I am curious though, what's the difference between running a traditional hotel and working in the casino side of the business? Because I know that you've worked with several properties that are on Indian reservations as well, such as the Seven Clans Hotel and the Apache Casino Hotel. Those are obviously more regional Indian gaming destinations, but how do you approach one of those projects differently than you might in something like the Westin Memphis?
Yeah, what I will share here is probably not necessarily the case across the board with all casino hotels, but in our experience,
I mean specifically smaller regional Indian reservation hotels. You cannot compared to something to that you would see on the Las Vegas Strip. And I don't want people to think that's what we're trying to do.
Exactly. You described that well, Glenn. So I think what we've learned is in the case of these smaller regional destinations, it's about gaming.
Right.
The hotel is not the main focus here. It's really about gaming. And you might be able to say that about Vegas too, but I think Vegas has really put a lot more emphasis on the hotel side in the last 2-3 decades.
Yeah.
But I think in the case of most of the Native American projects we've worked on, as you're mentioning, the focus is how do we keep people on the gaming floor? Yes, we want them to have a great hotel experience, but that's not our primary focus. So the goal is to keep people at the casino longer, right? So by adding a hotel, these casino operations are able to extend the play on their casino floor. Because in many cases, we've worked on projects where they didn't have a hotel prior to us bringing the hotel that we worked on. So that's really the focus on the smaller ones we've been a part of. Now, we just finished development of a 725-room convention hotel in Cherokee, North Carolina. The Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians have the Harrah's Casino there, extremely successful. So if you think about
casino.
Excuse me?
Oh, that's enough. No, I got the name wrong. That was in Phoenix. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah, this is the Harrah's Casino. It's in Cherokee. Cherokee is on the eastern side of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, where Pigeon Forge is on the western side of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So like Pigeon Forge, a lot of people come through Cherokee on their way to the most visited national park in the U.S., the Great Smoky Mountains. And so they stop in Cherokee for gaming at the Harrah's Casino there. We developed a 725-room convention hotel that opened October the 1st. And they are beginning to see meetings there, even with an opening in October of this year. They're beginning to book those meetings. So, but again, in that case, the focus was develop a hotel for the tribe that could operate solely as a convention hotel, not as a hotel to house gaming customers. They already have 1,100 rooms with the Harrah's, so they wanted a 700-room convention hotel. Yeah, it's amazing what's there, Glenn, in Cherokee, North Carolina, a very small city or small town in extreme western North Carolina. You've got over 1,800 hotel rooms there with the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. Yep.
That's a lot of business to try to generate on a nightly basis. Although, if that first 1,100 rooms is catering more towards the casino audience, it may not be as challenging. But what are some of the things that you need to think about when you're working on a project that's geared more towards keeping the gambler on site as opposed to a convention center type of a hotel?
Well, I would say this goes for a convention center hotel too, but particularly to the casino hotels we've worked on, Glenn, circulation on the ground floor with the casino is critical. You really have to think through circulation. So we spend a lot of time on the front end with the architect to work through that to make sure that we can move people, because in a lot of cases, the hotel becomes the new entrance to get to the casino. So we've got to be able to move people through that ground floor of the hotel if that's the case.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's exactly, Anthony, that's exactly what the Hyatt Regency at Resorts World at the Aqueduct Racetrack across from JFK is all about. They actually built on a whole expansion with additional casino space in the hotel there, Glenn. Yeah, Anthony?
Absolutely, and especially it's perfect because you can spend a night or two before you get on your plane because it's right next to JFK.
Right.
So you can have a business, and I'm all about that. Have a business meeting and spend a half a day playing poker. So it's perfect. And like you said, you need that room just so you can spend another day or so at the hotel to gamble. It's not really a destination. It's the casino floor is the destination.
Right.
So what else are you working on right now, Glenn? Anything new coming down the pike for you in the future?
Well, we are not a big organization, so our focus right now, Glenn, is certainly the project we're working on in Pigeon Forge. This will be the first Dreamcatcher hotel So there's a story behind Dreamcatcher Hotels. We're partnering with them, and this will be the first hotel branded as a Dreamcatcher. It'll be a 4-diamond upper upscale hotel, full service, there in Pigeon Forge. And then I can't announce the brand. We're under a confidentiality agreement in Panama City Beach.
I won't tell.
We'll guess it, Glenn.
Yeah.
Well, let me just tell you this much. It's a beachfront property, and the brand is quite appropriate to being on the beach. So you can think about the rest from there. But that one's a little bit further. We're just getting into the development program on that one and giving direction to the designer as to what we want to see on the beach there. Go ahead, Anthony.
You know what? Fontainebleau.
No, not Fontainebleau.
I was gonna say autograph, but I don't know if the autograph in the beach. I'm not sure, so I'll try.
Yeah, I don't know if that works so much. And then we're also looking at Asheville, North Carolina, which is still in western North Carolina, but a bit further east from Cherokee. We're working there at the Broadmoor Links to develop a new, again, upper upscale full service hotel on the golf course there. Again, that one's a bit further out as well. Not as Pigeon Forge, we're working to capitalize that hotel right now, debt and equity. But we're excited about Asheville. That's a great market too. Huge leisure component there, and we're looking forward to the business transient traveler and the corporate and association group business to return there. Because that will be something.
Are you starting to see the debt and equity start to loosen up? Because I know everybody thought there's going to be a lot of deals. Now there haven't been that many, and there's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines waiting to get to work. So have you seen in the last couple of months that things have loosened up and it's a little bit easier than it was, say, 6 months ago?
Yeah, absolutely, Anthony. And you summed it up very well. There's a lot of money sitting on the sidelines, both debt and equity, looking for good projects. We just recently received a debt commitment letter on that project for Pigeon Forge, and we're looking to round out the equity now. So yes, there's without question, compared to even say 6 months ago, Anthony, the availability of capital is drastically improved. It's certainly not back to where it was pre-pandemic, but we're well on our way.
But the equity part is still it's a lot more difficult than we anticipated. Is that true or not?
That's true. Yes, it's the debt is coming back quicker than the equity is. And equity is selective, pretty selective right now looking, and you have to be, right? I mean, if you're developing a new hotel today, you've got to be developing square in the middle of where demand is. And so right. I do think that's a positive for us with our Pigeon Forge project, with all the leisure travel going on there.
Right. So that sounds to me, I mean, like I said, you have the Memphis downtown property, but a lot of these other projects seem to be more leisure oriented, not in, the big cities or the secondary cities. Is that your strategy? And why, if so, do you feel that's going to work for you going forward?
Yeah, it's our strategy right now for sure, Glenn. And that's the reason why we're working in Pigeon Forge and in Panama City Beach on development of projects, because they are square in the middle of drive-to leisure destinations. That's what they are, right? Now, Memphis, you mentioned Memphis. Memphis is a drive-to leisure destination, but much more so on the weekend, right? Beale Street. One of the largest demand generators in terms of sales tax generation in the state of Tennessee. Beale Street brings a lot of people in, but now that summer is over and we're getting into the cooler months, it's really more focused on the weekend. Right. So not quite as big of a leisure demand generator as some of these other markets. So it's a bit harder to see in a market like that new hotel development at this point.
Yep.
I think, Nashville would probably be an exception to that. I think the challenge in Nashville right now is if you're looking to develop a franchise branded hotel, the problem is most of those have been sold, right? Most of those have been sold and developed here. I think that's why you see more independent, small boutique independent hotels popping up. But yeah, those are the kind of markets that are seeing activity right now, and those are the ones that are getting attention by both lenders and investors.
Right. Excellent. Makes a lot of sense.
And what do you think? What do you think about brands right now? Brands are in a flux, and I don't think that many people are really talking about it. I mean, they lost a lot of their executive team. They're bringing some back now, but you lost a lot of institutional knowledge. There's a lot of young people coming up that don't have the same institutional knowledge. I love the fact that there's a lot of opportunity, but it seems to me that in the next couple of years, the ownership may suffer because of the growing pains of these brands, because of they had to shut down to save themselves. What do you think it's going to look like in a couple of years? And have you felt that?
Yeah, we've definitely felt that, and I think we're going to see more of a transition away from brands, I believe, or to brands that have different focuses in the future. I think some of the large brands, particularly brand umbrellas like Marriott, Hilton, they fit into what Anthony just described. They cut way back during the pandemic, during 2020, in order to survive. And in many cases, they have not added those people back in 2021. And so you don't see the same services coming out of the brands that you saw pre-pandemic, which makes them less appealing. Then you couple
owners were
that
pissed off to begin with.
Yeah. And then you couple that with a changing traveler. The younger generations are not necessarily looking for what baby boomers like I was looking for. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we were proud of, Holiday Inn's big catchphrase back in the 70s, I think it was, the best surprise is no surprise, emphasizing, consistency of a franchise brand. Well, now travelers in their 20s and 30s, even in their 40s, are saying, I want to be surprised. I want you to wow me with something new, something different. Right. So I think that makes the franchise brands in some cases a little less appealing. And I think you mentioned autograph collection a moment ago, Anthony. I think that's why we're seeing some of the, the surge we see going on with some of the soft brands is because of that. The soft brands allow the hotel owner developer to put their own fingerprint on the hotel, much more so than you get with the hard brand.
Yeah, and I really think that that's when the general manager, the rubber meets the road, because if you're a real general manager that has a real passion for keeping those kind of hotels like the Algonquin and other hotels we can talk about in the autograph, that general manager has to fight against kind of the machine that kind of tries to streamline things and take the guts out of Algonquin. And I'll tell you, I saw the Algonquin recently. It looks beautiful, and they've done a great job of keeping it very much Algonquin. So, but it takes, you can't have a cookie-cutter general manager that's used to working in branded hotels go in and run these kind of properties, because it'll just start looking, the autograph will start looking. Right. So the ownership has got to demand that general manager really has a creative instinct to make sure that they maintain that and fight against the machine. And again, that's not a popular conversation, and that's not a lot of people say that, but it's true. Being a person that's fought against the machine my whole career, there's a happy balance, and you can keep the brand happy and have a great relationship with the brand, but also fight for those moments where it's like, hey, we got to change that to a brand standard. You're like, no, that will never change to a brand standard. And I remember charging for, this was before the brand got involved, but just with ownership, they wanted to charge for internet service in the lobby of the Algonquin. And I said, 100 years ago, we didn't charge for a pen, and everybody came to write at the Algonquin lobby. It's known for writers and deals for books and deals for movies. Matter of fact, the Godfather deal got signed there. So it's like I gave a pen for free. I'm not going to charge them for internet, because that's how people write today. And that's the kind of thing that we need to make sure that stays in these autograph, these type of hotels.
Yeah, Anthony, you talk about the general manager. I think what is important in a general manager is changing because of the types of hotels that we're seeing come about today. And as we're talking about more and more non-hard branded hotels, they're either soft branded hotels or they're actually independent hotels that are being developed. You need a general manager who can think uniquely about services for the different guests that they're serving. And secondly, And this is something that you don't see so much anymore, but you need a general manager who can think about how to market that hotel. Because, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, if you were a GM of a hard branded hotel, most of that marketing was coming from the brand side. That's becoming less and less the case today because A, if you're an independent soft branded hotel, you've got to be able to market yourself. And B, unfortunately, if you're at a hard branded hotel, there's not. I'll just tell you, for instance, Marriott doesn't have near the support for the owner operator on the marketing side that they did pre-pandemic. Because of everything Anthony said, they had to cut back.
Yep.
So it's extremely important on the general manager to have those skill sets.
But I think the skill set of obviously sales, revenue management, operations, but the number one skill set for a general manager is the ability to communicate. When I was a younger general manager, my communication style wasn't great. My communication style got better as I got older and more mature. It's still probably not great because I get a little excited because when I see my team, and that's another thing, the team is emotional because they're there every day, and then you hear the owner want to do something. So the general manager, there should really be courses really teaching a general manager how to communicate not only to the staff, but to the ownership, to the brand, and really be able to drive that vision. Because a lot of times, as you know, the asset manager, the regional manager, the owner will just want the general manager, hey, stick to what you know and we'll tell you how to guide this ship. And then you get this young manager finally in a general manager position and they don't really have the skills. And that's what I find that's lacking in a general manager. The gumption or the real guts to protect their hotel and their staff because there's so many people above them involved.
Yeah. Back to being a good general manager, you have to love people and you have to know how to communicate to people. And that's not just your guests, that's the team that's operating the hotel with you. I think the biggest challenge for companies, not just hospitality companies, but for companies in general, is communication. If you don't communicate well, it's hard to have a great company. You can have great bones, you can have great ideas, but if you can't communicate well, it's next to impossible to run a good business.
Yep, makes sense. All right, we need to start wrapping up because I have to go downstairs and do a speaking engagement, Glenn, but I'd like to give you an opportunity for any final thoughts and a good shameless plug for your company.
Well, thanks so much, Glenn, for having me. It's been a pleasure to talk with you. Anthony, pleasure to get to meet you and talk with you today here on the podcast. Wellengood Partners is all about developing unique hotels in special markets. And we've talked about some of those today. If you're out there today and you're looking for someone to come alongside you to help you develop a great hotel that you have in mind where you need hospitality expertise on your team, would love to hear from you about that. That's the kind of project that we're out looking for today and look forward to developing and operating tomorrow.
That's great. Glenn, have you been to the Peg Leg Porker?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Talk about some great barbecue. Yes.
All right, just checking. It's one of my favorite places in town. Glenn Malone, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you, Anthony.
Take care. All right, Anthony, that was really fun. And I got to tell you, I love his creative approach to creating meaningful properties in destinations that I, as a human being, wouldn't necessarily think of first. Pigeon Forge, great location, not something I would have thought of. Super, super clever.
Yeah, but you know what? If you went to Pigeon Forge and just spend a day there, same thing with Nashville. You're like, oh shit, why am I not here? It's like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
it really is a no-brainer.
I got to get to Pigeon Forge at some point. Almost went this summer, but it was a little too aggressive of a drive for us. Oh well. Yeah. Anthony, what are you going to do about that? Well, I know what we're going to do. We're going to do another show tomorrow. No, we're not actually. We're not doing a show tomorrow. I have to take off tomorrow. I apologize to everybody. My schedule is just not going to work out. But on Wednesday, Anthony and I will be together on location. And the same on Thursday. 2 different states, 2 different cities. It should be a whole lot of fun, don't you think?
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it, brother.
All right. If you don't want to watch us, get our audio version here. Listen on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. You know the drill by now. And by now, you also know that according to Listen Notes, we're in the top 0.5% of all audio podcasts in the world. Joe Rogan, we're coming after you. All right. I'm Traveling Glenn. He's at Anthony Hotels. It's been good seeing you. And remember, guys, you got one life, so blaze on and
Be kind to yourself.
all right. See you later.
All right.